In this video we're going to have a look at two kinds of irrigation fittings, the lock nut and the barbed kind. So they're both for use with our inline dripper pipes and supply pipe, and we're going to explain the differences, pros and cons of each, and show you how to assemble each type. These are the lock nut fittings, and they seal to the pipe using inserts and matching locking caps. They're colour coded depending on the size of the pipe being used. The blue for 20mm and the green ones, like in this guy here, are for 16mm pipe. The inserts are tapered there, and that's what creates a seal with the fitting. And then there's a barb on the other side, so when the pipe is pushed on and the cap screwed up, it all compresses on and seals. The handy thing about these fittings is they all have a 3/4 inch BSP thread. That means you connect them to a variety of other fittings, such as a hose connector here, or you can also use the brass claw couplings from Deka, or regular plumbing fittings you could find locally. It also means you can swap the caps and the inserts around and change the configuration of any fitting. Here I'm mixing a 20mm and 16mm on a T connection, which is a very common thing to do because you might have a 20mm supply pipe and be taking a 16mm dripper pipe from it. First thing to do when connecting a fitting is to get a good clean cut on the pipe. That's easy to do with secateurs, or a good sharp scissors will do the job. So slide on your lock nut and put your insert in the fitting, and then you're going to wiggle the pipe on till it's right back to the shoulder on the insert, and just screw it together, and that will compress everything and seal everything up. Hand tight is all you need to get a really good strong connection. Another handy thing about these is you can open them up very quickly again, so you might want to lift up the lines for the winter or reconfigure the system. These are the barbed fittings, simpler than the lock nut type and more discreet when fitted. With these guys, the seal is created by heating the pipe in warm water to expand it. Then it's worked on over the barbs, and when it cools down it shrinks and seals on the fitting. So the water doesn't need to be boiling, but it should be hot enough to soften the pipe once it's been left in for about 10 or 15 seconds. You'll know it's warm enough because the pipe will wiggle onto the barbs then pretty easily. What you don't want to do here is twist the pipe because it's soft from being heated and you could create a weak point or even a tear. So just work it on until it's right to the back of the fitting. Here you can see the two types of fitting side by side. So some advantages of the lock nut type fittings: they're stronger and more secure than the barbed type. You don't need hot water when you put them together. 3/4 inch BSP threads means you can connect them to a range of other kinds of fittings easily, as well as being able to swap around the inserts to change the sizes. So disadvantage would be that they're more bulky than the barbed fittings, not as tidy and discreet, and also they're a bit more expensive. So if you have a large tunnel with a lot of lines, that can add up a bit. So the barbed ones, as we said, more tidy, discreet and cost effective. On the downside then, they're not so easy to reuse. They need hot water when you're putting them together. That hot water also stretches the pipe, so you can get weak points on the barbs that may dribble. So the piping used for irrigation systems is low density polyethylene. It's a soft walled pipe with 4 bar pressure rating, so it's not suitable where there's going to be high pressure, but it has perfect qualities for a low pressure irrigation system. Pipes are lightweight and flexible, so very easy to maneuver and route around wherever you need. Inside the interior there is really smooth, so there's no friction, and that enhances the water flow. They're also very durable, resistant to corrosion, chemicals, UV, so they have a very long lifespan, and then eventually when you are done with them they can be recycled. Supply pipe is available in 16mm or 20mm, but the dripper pipe will always be 16mm. Along the drip pipe, the emitters are built in at set distances. For vegetables, 33 centimeters, about a foot. So you can get wider spacings to suit hedging or perennials, but for vegetable beds, 33 centimeters is perfect. The aim is not to line the drippers up with individual plants. You're just trying to get a good spread of water throughout the soil and let the roots go looking for it then. So you have a good soil structure, and the capillary action of the roots will pull the water around in the soil. So each dripper lets out 2 litres of water per hour. That's consistent across the whole length of the line, so you're going to get very even watering. That's in contrast to some of the soaker hoses you can get, which often water very unevenly, letting out a lot more, say, at the beginning of the line than at the end. So the supply pipe is basically the same as the dripper pipe without the emitters built in, and that's used to take the water from the source to the beginning of each drip line. Typically it'd be laid across one end of your tunnel, and you'd have all your dripper lines teed off it then at right angles. So supply pipe can be 16mm or 20mm. How do you know which to use? As a rule of thumb, if you're only using about 100 meters or less of dripper pipe in your system, then the 16mm supply is adequate. But if you're going to be using more than that, say a few 100 meters, or you have a commercial tunnel, then 20mm is good to ensure you have plenty of flow to feed it all. Supply pipes are also used for sprinkler systems, and in that case you'd be punching a hole in it everywhere you wanted to connect a sprinkler, and they can be overhead or ground based. Just showing you how to close the end of the dripper lines off here. So you slide this figure of 8 guy on, pinch off your pipe and slide it back to hold it closed.